Hello, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to London.Transport.Enthusiast. Here's where we're headed this week. Is London really on track, or is it just on spinning wheels? I bring you the latest train news, and we dive deep into delays and what the extension to the DLR could mean for people who live in Thanesmead as well. And a very, very warm welcome to the show, everyone. I'm EH Enthusiast, and welcome to our first ever podcast here on London Transport Enthusiast. Here we'll be discussing everything to do with trains in London and across England as well. And this will be something different from what I do on the main channel, which is mainly focused on buses, as we'll be able to discuss something different. I did initially come up with this idea just so I could do something different to what I originally do daily, as I do host my own bus program called EH Enthusiast, where I just film buses. I also talk about stuff that is going on within TfL with the buses as well. So, yeah, that's basically what we're going to do. So on today's show, we're going to be talking everything from train delays to overcrowded carriages, to graffiti, government policy, and the reality of life for the everyday London commuter. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to start with the South Western Railway platform hoovers, as they're finally here. The good news, or at least what should be good news, after years of delay, South Western Railway has finally begun rolling out its brand new fleet of Class 701 trains. These sleek, high-capacity trains, often called platform hoovers because of their 10-carriage walk-through design, are now in limited service on key commuter routes into London Waterloo. These trains promise a much improved passenger experience with air conditioning, USB ports, onboard Wi-Fi, and accessible toilets for the first time on many of these suburban routes. Their design is more than standing room, more seats, and smoother boarding for the thousands who pass through Clapham Junction, Vauxhall, Wimbledon, and beyond. But here, the issue: only 14 of the 90 trains promised are currently in service. 14! That's just 15% of the fleet, despite this upgrade being the first announced back in 2019. Commuters are already reacting. One woman told us, quote, "I've seen the new trains once, maybe twice. They're great inside, but I'm still crammed in. Like usual, every morning, it's just not enough." However, South Western Railway insists that the rollout will accelerate throughout the autumn, but for many passengers still sweating in older carriages, it feels like a promise stuck in slow motion. Now, online there are a lot of news articles and stories which you can follow up with involving these new trains rollouts. So next we move to delays on the Underground Piccadilly line upgrade, as it's been hit by buffers and the Underground isn't doing much better. The highly anticipated 3 billion upgrade on the Piccadilly line, which would deliver London's air-conditioned trains, has been delayed for 2 years. Originally scheduled to enter service by the end of this year, Transport for London now confirms that the trains may not appear until mid to late 2027. Why the delay? Technical integration issues, training requirements, and further testing are cited as the main reasons, but for those who use the line every day, particularly during London's rising summer heat, the explanation offers little comfort. Some parts of the Piccadilly line this week recorded temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius. One commuter said, quote, "nearly fainted from the heat and called it a health hazard." TfL have commented and said that they're doing all they can and that this delay will not affect the planned upgrades to the Bakerloo line, which is also next for upgrade in the queue. But for new trains, many passengers have already lost faith in these deadlines. And we did previously speak about this on my program recently on a podcast where we did discuss how the TfL were going to be putting the priority of the Bakerloo behind them to focus on the Baker Loop, which is going to be coming relatively soon. And we also did speak about the Piccadilly line as well. So here's the clip from the podcast.
We're talking about. The Piccadilly line currently operates the 1973 stock trains, but are soon to be riding on the state-of-the-art trains, which are part of the new project, which costed a whopping £2.9 billion, which was funded by TfL and by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Now, me personally, I'm a big fan of this. I do think that after many, many years of the 1973 stock, it is right that the Piccadilly line does get an upgrade in trains. And plus, it is a big addition into what we currently have, including since we got the Elizabeth line added to us last year and it's been fully in service from this year. I think that the new trends which are coming just makes a better experience for us, something new, something that all of us can try, and something that is attractive on the eye, something that may surprise us all and could be something very good. And you never know, people can have strong opinions, and my opinion is that these trains will be a perfect addition to the London Underground. Now, let's give you a brief history as to where these and who manufactured these trains. These new Piccadilly line trains are manufactured by Siemens in Germany and in Goole in Yorkshire, and currently there are 94 trains in total. These are expected to expand passenger capacity by 10%. However, the bosses are saying that there is a risk to the new addition to the network could have stopped being manufactured amid uncertainty around TfL's funding for the government. Rachel McLean, the chief financial officer for TfL, had said that the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt's autumn statement last week, which is, quote, "We have to be clear that we are now able to fund around 3/4 of the capital investment program for the 2024-2025. But we need the government to provide the final quarter so that the projects critical to the city, like the new fleet of the Piccadilly line trains, half of which are being built in the Goole in Yorkshire, and they're continuing to be manufactured as of now." And along with this, the trains on the Bakerloo line, says the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, that they're still the oldest running in the country, and he believes, quote, "replacing those could cost hundreds of millions of pounds." And other ongoing upgrades to the London transport network include the Tube's Central Line stock, which are undergoing a £500 million revamp. Now, from what you can see here, you can see that the government, the Mayor of London and TfL have been working together very closely and providing support along with each other to make the TfL lines better by giving them revamps like the ones that you're going to see shortly on the Central Line stock, which are also currently taking place right now, and their £2.9 billion investment into the new Piccadilly line trains. And also what you can see that they're slowly trying to replace the Bakerloo line trains, although they do say that will cost hundreds of millions of pounds. So I do not see them doing that anytime soon as of now.
And remember, you can catch the full podcast on youtube.com EH for Enthusiast. Now, coming up after the break, we'll be talking about the latest on vandalism on the underground, how that can be tackled, and what the people in power can do to sort that out. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the program. Now, before we went to a short break, we were going to discuss vandalism on the underground and how people have volunteered to help to clean up the mess which is around. If you've travelled on the Bakerloo or Central Line recently, you may have noticed something, and it's not subtle. Across these lines, graffiti and tagging have surged, and TfL says that they're now removing around 3,000 graffiti tags per week, with over 2,000 of those on the Central Line alone. Some trains are so heavily vandalized, it's affecting how safe and clean passengers feel. Here's where it's interesting. A volunteer group of Londoners have taken matters into their own hands, literally. Armed with cleaning wipes, gloves, and sprays, they've started riding trains and cleaning off the graffiti themselves, calling it an act of civic pride. They've posted videos online showing befores and afters in carriages, and the results are impressive. One volunteer told us, quote, "We're doing what Sadiq Khan won't. If TfL can't keep the trains clean, we will." TfL later responded by saying they're repairing their automatic carriage washers and stepping up internal cleaning rotations. But the backlash is clear. Londoners are tired of waiting for others to take action into their own hands as its services provided to them, and they're doing more than the people who run these things to keep their things safe. Now we move on to rationalization, and is it really the answer? Big moves are now happening behind the scenes. C2C, which runs services between London, Fenchurch Street, and Essex, has officially come under government control. This is part of the broader Great British Railways plans aiming to bring more of England's rail services into public ownership. Greater Anglia will follow later this year. By 2026, almost half of all commuter journeys in and out of London will be state-run. Supporters say this could reduce delays, cuts, cancellation rates, and make services more accountable. Critics argue that more about rebranding than results, and point out that nationalisation doesn't automatically fix aging train strikes or under-investment. Transport Secretary Hedy Alexander insists that this is a return to the British Rail, but rather a modern managed framework with clearer public benefits. But for many, the proof will be in the punctuality, not the politics. And we'll see what those changes will have to bring moving forward. Now we move to innovation on the tracks in cab signalling rollouts. There's also a major infrastructure milestone worth highlighting. The Northern City line running between Finsbury Park and Moorgate has become the first in London to switch in-cab digital signalling, removing the traditional line-side signals altogether. This was part of a 1.4 billion East Coast digital program, and experts say that it could cut delays on the line by up to 1/3. Drivers now receive live speed and signal information through onboard computers, similar to systems used across Europe. The rollout is expected to expand further in its coming years. and it's a huge step forward, but one that still feels distant from much of the capital's rail network. Budget cuts and maintenance struggles. Meanwhile, Network Rail has confirmed that they are cutting back the full-scale track renewals due to rising energy costs tied to net zero targets. Instead, they'll focus on short-term repairs. Their concern here is that aging infrastructure budgets, bridges, point signals may be left in place no longer than safe or reliable simply because of full replacement costs costing too much. Maintenance budgets are under pressure, and Londoners are left wondering if cost saving today will mean more chaos tomorrow. And finally, what do Londoners think based on servers? We'll talk about the numbers and feelings now, and according to a recent national survey, London has the most dissatisfied commuters in the UK. Around 1 in 4 people living in the capital say they hate their daily commutes, and more than in Manchester, Birmingham, or Glasgow. Why? It's a mix of reasons: overcrowding, frequent delays, fare increases, and the psychological drain of unreliable journeys. Even though London's average commute distance is only around 6 miles, the cost of travel, particularly with season tickets, averaging over £4,900 per year, often eats up more than half of a worker's take-home pay when combined with rent or mortgage. And while passenger numbers have also rebounded above pre-pandemic levels in some lines, peak time travel is still about 13% lower than 2019, suggesting that many people are still choosing to work from home when they can to avoid stress. Where London stands as of August 2025, we take a look at the bigger picture. New trains are arriving slowly, upgrades are delayed, disruption still continues, vandalism is on the rise, ownership models are shifting, technology is modernizing for the better, but only in pockets, and commuters, they're still frustrated, exhausted, and calling for real change. London's rail system is in many ways on the edge of transformation, but getting there is proving slow, expensive, and politically fraught. And when we come back after this short break, we will talk about the DLR extension to Thanesmead. Will it happen? Will it not? We'll discuss that after the break. And finally tonight, a possible DLR extension to Thanesmead. Could it happen? Well, we don't know yet, that's the truth. A long discussed transport link in southeast London may finally be gaining traction to the Docklands Light Railway, an extension to Thanesmead. So what's happening, and will it really go ahead? Well, TfL has officially progressed plans for a 2-station DLR extension branching off from Galleon's Reach. The new route will cross the Thames via tunnel to a new station in central Thanesmead. A second station is also proposed at Beckton Riverside, aiming to connect one of London's most isolated areas. This extension has received strong public support, with over 75% of the local residents saying it would boost connectivity, is expected to unlock 30,000 new homes and support 10,000 new jobs in an area that currently lacks any rail access. But here's the catch: the project is not yet funded for and is still under proposal by TfL. They did submit a strategic outline case to the government in 2023 and is now preparing a business case for 2025. If that's approved, then construction will begin as of early 2028. with the line opening by the early 2030s, if to go ahead. The benefits are clear: short journeys, less car use, and huge development potential. But unless central government steps up in financial support or private funding models agree, the project risks delay. And in summary, it is alive, moving forward, but whether it will be built is still depending on funding and political will. And that is it for our first ever podcast here on London Transport Enthusiast. Remember, if you missed the shows, remember you can always catch us across social media on EHR Enthusiast, where you'll catch us from Mondays to Fridays, and here every Saturday 4 p.m. Just go to youtube.com/LTE Enthusiast or on youtube.com/EHR Enthusiast. Well, I'm EHR Enthusiast in London. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week.